All right. Hey everybody. Let's make a little noise. All right, let's do a little sound check. Let's see. Jeff, Matthew, Andy, Skyer. Nice. Thanks for joining me. I'm assuming you can hear the mic, and I'm assuming you can hear the synths. And I'm assuming that the synths are being ducked when I speak, I hope. 1 2 1 2. Check, check, check. Ducks. Ranzit Zeldin, greetings from Israel. Oh, greetings from Boston. Casual noises. Another friend in Antwerp. All right, so we're just going to run through the little sound checks here. So I'm going to shut up. We're going to run through the synths. All right, these are our modular patterns for now. We've got 1, 2, 3. So they're just 4 distinct phrases that I can move between. All right. And then leave that kind of running in the background there. And what are we playing with tonight? So I've done a little rerouting, a little rewiring here. I had some time today. Hey, my case. That I have the subsequent and the matriarch running so that I can control them from the push now as well. Because I play a grid a hell of a lot better than I play keys. So it's getting serious. That's our matriarch sound for tonight, and we may be moving it around. We've got a little summit here. The sounds haven't changed dramatically. This is the palette for tonight, or this afternoon, or this morning, depending on where you are. This is new. Andy plays guitar, and I had another guitar player I saw today at the local synth meetup who was playing guitar, sort of washes over his things. And I wanted something sort of plucky and guitar-y today, so I went digging. But I don't know guitar voicings, so what we may do is just turn on an arpeggiator. I don't know. We'll see where that goes. It might go somewhere, it might not. And then the old bass here. All right. So everybody's here. So, what was the plan today? The plan was to set up a few patterns, I think. It's very low key. One other change that happened was that, well, let me lay down a couple patterns first. Something pretty low key. If I actually play on the downbeat. There we go. The other change was I dug out one of these, little Bluetooth controller. And the reason I dug this out was so that I could do transpositions. I still want to be able to play the matriarch without transposing everything. So I moved the global transposition stuff over to this keyboard. So now it doesn't look cool, but that wasn't really my goal. The goal was convenience. So now transpositions are just playing the keys. So, can you imagine doing this in concert? Nobody would like it. Like, what is he doing? He's transposing. So, there's my global transposition. Not exciting, but small incremental improvements, all right? So I'll get there. By the end of the month, I'll be able to do a few things. So. Foot pedal, yeah, I could do that. I was talking to Nanoside on the Discord server, basically, because he's got that foot pedal system he built out of the organ pedals. there's a sync going on this lead, and it's too sharp. And I don't mean sharp in pitch. It's just too sharp. It's killing the fundamental. Let me adjust it. If I could learn this, if I could see. There we go. That's better. Korg Nano Key, yeah, or the Nano Key, Nano Studio, the Nano Key Studio. Yeah, it's smaller and has no knobs, but I want the knobs. I want the knobs for this, because something else someone asked for. Right? That's been a big debate. Does Berlin School have rhythm? Does it? I think it does. Sometimes. I have no problem with it having rhythm. But I have some percussion and a kick now. So when someone's like, come on, DJ Sleeper, bring it, drop the beat, right? I'll say, okay, fine, I'll put the kick in. Right? That's okay. All right. Let's lay this down. Make the bass line more interesting. So this music right now is leaning heavier into Prog than Berlin School, right? But because it has it's got 4 monophonic lines sort of weaving in and out of each other. This harkens back to Bach's like 4-part inventions, 4 lines or 2-part inventions. And Bach, my mother always called Bach deedle deedle music because it was a guy on an organ going deedle 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 deedle. And my default mode compositional behavior is to fall into deedle deedle mode as opposed to ducka ducka mode. So what we're seeing now is deedle deedle music. Let's transpose it. Now the other thing, it is deedle deedle music. It's brick time again. Okay, thanks guys. Tangerine uses, yeah, let's put the percussion back in and see the deedle deedle stuff likes percussion. the other thing, so we're working up towards this performance, right? At the end of the month. I want to be able to do a stream where I just say, okay, guys, get your drinks, smoke them if you got them. I'm going to play a little micro concert for you. And I'm leading up to that. And one thing I need to be able to do is arrange. And one of the discussions I want to have as we go forward is, in order to do sort of full arrangements, you have to be prepared. You have to have certain changes prepared in place, because you simply can't change the direction. Like what I do here in live looping is I take an instrument and I push it in a direction. I give it a pattern to play and say, you're going to go in that direction, go. And I let it play, right? And then I go find its mate and I say, okay, you're going to play a pattern that's complementary to this pattern. And I set that up and it starts looping and I say, go, right? Well, once you've got all of these things going, right, it's hard. Once there's 8 things going, it's hard to change their direction all at once in a good way, like a dramatic way, a musically storytelling sort of way, because that's where my heart is in telling musical stories, right? So in order to do that, you have to be able to prepare. Okay. Now, you can prepare by preparing backing tracks and things like that, or doing transitions in advance and things like that. And that's really what I'm considering doing, is to what degree you want to do that. And so to that end, tonight, I've got a few I've got a few arrangement changes prepared. So here would be an example. Like, I'd build this loop up, then I'd be soloing over it, right? Blah, 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 playing and things like that. And I get to a point where I want to change it, and I would simply do this. I combine that with doing transposition, so I can go to a new set of sections and then start transposing them. And keep playing along. So it's still a performance, right? I'm still giving you a live performance, right? Move back and forth between them. We can go back to the previous one. It's like having a looper that can store the loops you create, and then you could go back to the previous loops. This is not convenient for me to be able to do transpositions. I'm going to have to figure something out. Where does this thing live? Right. So that's what's being worked on, right? So I've got the instrumentation down, and I can do my creation of loops live. I can have patterns prepared in the modular. I can have patterns prepared in the system. I can play along with. Once patterns are running, I can transpose them. And then families of patterns can be held and then moved between once they're recorded. I can bring rhythm in and out. All right, so let me start bringing this down. I'll pay attention to the chat. I'm sorry. Like, that's the one thing. When all this salad being tossed all at once, you lose track, and I can't focus on you guys. So let me bring this down. Preferably gracefully. Anyway, so that's the deal. That's where the direction we're going in. And this may offend some people because some people are like, you're playing backing tracks. And it could be said that I am. There's no audio recorded here. I'm not lip syncing. I am playing. And the segments are played in that I have played them into the system. Some of the transitions, I may have played them about an hour earlier, right? But you'll see me build stuff up. And that's the mode I'm going to pretty much work in because I like the way it sounds and I can have fun with it. Wow. And I can hear the microphone scratching against my beard. All right, let's go back and look at the chat. What are you guys saying? Let's see if it's a river of flame or if it's just, not a problem. We'll see. So what do we got here? Nano Key Studio. Yep. Rick is back. Yep. And Andy says arrangements. Yep, that's the deal. So, hey, Amphonics. Pulse Width Modifier. I just met him in person at the meetup. So, try and find the right mix of improv and planned. Yeah, it's a balancing act, right? And it comes down to how much risk do you want and what's the reward, right? I'm fairly certain that, performers who you pay to see them, they got backing tracks, right? You guys aren't paying to see me. So, and half the fun's in the fuck ups too, right? So, Electric Dawn, hey, if I've missed anybody in the chat, sorry. Let's see. Synchrotron building up towards the end of January. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah. You could do this like this. So if you don't think you could do this, you can. I'll tell you right now. That's kind of part of the premise for what I am and what the channel's for. Certainly in the Berlin School realm, building a bed is easy. Playing a melody over it is a learned thing, but melodies don't have to be complex. I'm all fast and hyperactive and deedle. You don't have to be that. The best melodies are the ones that have fewer notes in them, right? Because those are hooks and they're memorable, right? You can learn to do this because it's a simple thing. Make a bed, play a melody over it, rinse and repeat. Make another bed, play a different melody over it, layer those things on top of each other, right? Build layers up over time. And then once you've got layers and you've got a section at that point, that's section A of my song, right? If I'm using a machine to store that section, good. And then I move on. I clear the slate. Right? Or I take half that section away and I build a new set of patterns on top of it. And then I take the bottom half away and build a complementary set of that. And now that's section B. And I've still got section A stored, right? So I can go back and forth. Or you can mix and match. I'm going to take these two patterns that I have built in section A and I'm going to lay them on top of these patterns I built in section B, right? You can get interesting happy accidents going that way. And then you transpose over it, right? Or do whatever. It's doable. You guys can learn to do this. I bet you can do it already. You just haven't tried it yet. Give it a try. So Electric Dawn plays bass. I love how we're attracting the bass players. Love it. Let's see. What else? What else we got in here? I think that's probably it. Hey, Maruiel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Moru, welcome. Welcome back, I should say. Let's see. Adri, you made it. I hope that was deep enough for you. There was a kick drum in there with some bassy things going on. Just got through the streams. Cool. You guys don't have to watch all the streams. You just watch the highlight reels. There's just not enough time in the day to watch all the streams that everybody's putting out this month, right? So Let's see. Is the audio delayed for you as well? Are you asking me or are you asking one of the other people in the chat there, Electric Dawn? You listened to it before the copyright strike. Did I finally get a copyright strike for yesterday's? Or a copyright warning or something like that? I totally blatantly played the melody out of Vangelis' song Pulse Star, just to see what would happen. I've never seen one yet, so I want to see what happened. Let's see. You don't see it as a backing track given that I'm building it all? Yes and no, right? I mean, I built it. Some of them I might, like really crazy dramatic stuff, I'm going to build, a week in advance to prepare for a weekend show, something like that. When there's something that's like, a huge transition with several key changes across the transition and a bunch of like swooshes and hits and things like that. That's something you trigger, right? That's not, if you've ever been to, if you go to a concert, Tangerine Dream, Kraftwerk, Rush, and, pick my favorite bands, they trigger transitions as well, right? They'll be playing a song and now they're going to go play the next song, right? And if they want them to be connected, they may play a transition between the two, but generally they trigger them. They say, okay, this will happen. This new thing is going to swell. I may play under that, right? But that's something that is orchestrated and arranged. We'll see where it goes. All right, let's see what else. Let's put a little noise in the background. Sorry. Let's see. Saturday. I need to get my duckas in a row. Yeah, your duckas and your deedles. Let's see. No, not yet. Thank you, Adri. You had me worried there for a minute. All right. Cool. All right, I think we're caught up. Well, what do we want to do? I guess I can try and build something fresh. Here, let me demonstrate. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go and we'll save. That's the other thing nice about having a hybrid system. To be able to go to my computer and save means that the performance that I just winged together for you guys, I have that down. So I can use that later. But let's do this. Now that it's saved, we can go through and delete all these patterns. And you know what? We'll leave them there for now. We'll leave them there. And we're here. So let's build something fresh. Let's go to the modular. Let's see. Let's just mess it up. Let's pull all of everything down. And we'll start adding some notes. So the Metropolix is key aware, so I can slide these sliders almost blind. I can't see very well right now. It's so dark in here. And it'll still sound okay. It'll sound in key. Let's turn all of these on. And we'll give it a little bit more distance. We're in C minor, so it'll be a little spooky. And we'll add a couple ratchets to this. We have some ratchets in here. Let's see if we can get the ratchets to play. There we go. Let's change some pulse counts. All right, let's see what happens. All right. All right, so there's a pattern I like. Let's put something soft underneath it. All right. Hey, and Dawson. Nigel. All right, let's put something underneath it that's kind of soft. Forgot to hit record again. Let's try it again. This patch has an ARP behind it that's out of key. Like this little floating thing in the patch itself. I'll have to go in and tweak that later. All right. Yeah. We can fix that. Right, let's do this. A little hacking. I can't fix it right now. We'll live with it. All right, let's add a little matriarch. Kind of melodic. This is the problem with live looping. I need to figure out, if I was performing, I would be able to do this. Let's figure out tonality, where we want to go. So that's going to go there. The pads are going to go up. We'll go down. Let's go bring in some of those other patterns off the modular. Got a few dissonant notes in there. It's because I just randomly changed the sliders, so we get a few things that are like right next to each other on the scale. So you'll run into dissonance when like two notes play and their interval's really close, and you'll be So we'll get a little bit of that. I would go through normally and like change the sliders to sort of correct those pitches. Just scan through it real quick. Like that one. Dicking around with that. Let's put some more layers in here. More reverb, I think. That lead, let's see. More reverb, never too much reverb. Much nicer. I do not always choose the best sounds that blend well. Okay, too much chat. I'll get back to it in a minute. Why not? watch this. We could go back to the patterns we'd recorded earlier. This is why I use frickin' Ableton. Okay. And now we're back where we were just a moment ago. Let me pull this down just in general and let me read the chat. It's starting to sound very Yanni-like in here. Okay. So, all we need is add killing my own mic. Hold on. Turning it on the wrong channel. There we go. All we need is Andrea Bocelli, right? And we're into romantic new age. There's always a danger of that for me. I loved Yanni growing up, man. Him and what is his album, Keys to the Imagination, man? Before he went all romance and started doing like piano motifs, which are great, that's fine. But I really didn't go in for the whole romantic Yanni thing. I liked him when he was like doing FM, cool, PPG, like sort of prog new age. That album, Keys to the Imagination, was awesome. All right, let's see. Where are we at? All right, Nigel arrives. So, Metropolis, yes. I'm happy with Metropolis. Let's see. Richard arrived. Okay, cool. Saw Queen at the IMAX last night. I bet that was amazing. I'm a big fan of Queen. Let's see. I'm not sure who's left, but yeah. Right. It was a film of Montreal. Okay, from 81. Man, I bet that was awesome. Okay, let's see. Zaki or Zassi. Hey, welcome. Let's see. Gosh, Tattoo. There's a band that takes me back to the 90s. Or was it early 2000s? I don't remember. That's okay. Metropolis is easy to work with. And if you know what you're doing from a theory perspective, you could really do amazing things. Because there's a whole internal modulation system that I haven't even scratched yet. So like if you know what to do as far as moving things at certain intervals across the key, or like I don't even have the theory to be able to express what I'm talking about. Metropolis is easy to get patterns into that sound good, that sound in key. It's easy to tweak them without fucking them up and making them sound bad. You're pretty safe to make changes on Metropolis. Both changes to intonation, like the pitches, but also rhythmically. You can tell it, lock me into a 4 on the floor, lock me into a 3-4 or a 7-8 or whatever you want it to be, and let me change the rhythm of my notes, but always keep the downbeat at the right place. Metropolis is really, really good at that. And so that's why I have 2, and I might be getting a 3rd. So we'll see. That would be overkill. 2 might be overkill. It's a great sequencer, though. There are other awesome sequencers, but I'm sold on Metropolis. Let's see. Saw Yes in the 80s. Yes, I'm a big fan. 90125 was a great tour. That was the very first time I ever heard Yes, was when Owner of a Lonely Heart came out. I actually missed early Yes. Saw 9012 live and was like, this band's awesome. And then they played all of these other songs during the concert that I'm like, these sound even cooler. Where are these from? And it's like I went and got Fragile and Yes songs and all the old albums and stuff like that. So anyway, let's see, a few more years, and the bass is good. I'm very happy with the bass. Again, I say this every episode because someone asks. There is a video on the channel called Rick Bass, and it shows you how to make this bass sound. So go for it. What is the rack under the patch bay? So this is the audio interface that the modulars and all the local synths on the table are running into. It's a Motu 24 AI. And it's just got enough headroom so that I can just plug modular signals right into it and not have to worry about clipping or anything like that. But it has no plugs on it itself. It plugs into the patch bay. And so the synths plug in the patch bay. The patch bay is a bridge into the 24 AI that goes into Ableton. So that's what that's for. I did a video on this too, with diagrams and everything of how this whole place is routed. So go search for, if you search for Motu, M-O-T-U, because I use Motu gear, not a shill, not affiliated, no kickbacks. But I just like Motu gear because they're from my town. Motu is a Boston company. And so I just like their gear. It works well for me. Let's see. Keith Emerson. I think I told the Keith Emerson story a week or two ago. I won't repeat myself. The interweaving lines is a thing that I like. I'm a bass player at heart, right? So I pretty much think monophonically when it comes to the lines. I think in terms of one note, maybe an interval. I don't think about chords. Like, you won't catch me playing a seventh. If I play a seventh chord, I'm playing the root and the seventh, or I'm playing the third and the seventh. That's how I think. And what I tend to do is when I build chords, when I'm composing, I stack intervals. I don't say I'm going to play, I'm not going to play an A minor, and I'm not going to play an A sus4 here. I think I'm going to play a fifth and I'm going to add a fourth, or I say I'm going to play a fifth and then I'm going to play another fifth, but I'm going to play it a fourth up, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, that's okay. I'm not a good theory guy. I tend to think in terms of the note that I'm playing, what other note will sound dissonant or sound sweet with it, and then I'll choose which note I want to play depending on, am I going for evil or am I going for happy, right? So, and then I stack everything. So let's see, what else? Talking about conventions, that's fine. That's all good. Whoops. Oh, this chat is terrible. Come on, don't jump to the end. Let's see. A 30-second delay between the video and the sound. Interesting. So the video's out of sync with the sound. I know there's a latency between when I send out, like when you type in the chat, I don't see it for about 30 seconds. But let me know if it's really out of sync. That's terrible. None of the videos of recordings so far in January have been that way. But if this one's hosed, we'll find out later. So let's see. How many patterns can you save in the Metropolis memory? I think 64. I think 64. It may be more, maybe less. But I know there's a row of 8 buttons on the bottom. And there are 8 colors, and those are banks, and you cycle through the 8 colors, and you can have 8 slots to save into. So I believe that's 64 on Metropolis. So, Animotion, hey, good to see you. Let's see, what else? Not many strums in Berlin School. There could be. I've heard Berlin School, some really old Berlin School, of course I can't remember the artist's name now, that didn't have any synths in it at all. It was like guitar and bass and drums and a whole lot of delay and reverb, right? And they were just doing, tight loops, right? And I think there was some tape loop in there, basically. Maybe like Music Concrete, Found Sound kind of stuff as well, sound effects. And I think they had a Pipeworks, and they were beating on like 50-gallon drums for rhythm. So so it could work. You could make it work. If you play guitar and you want to say, I'm going to work strums into Berlin School, go for it. I'd listen. Moriel, you got a Circle-On. Nice. Circle-Ons are awesome. It's basically Ableton and hardware. I really liked mine. I had it for a little over a year, And then I realized that it was basically the Ableton project model in a box, which is fine, except I was also actively using Ableton because I use a push, so it was duplication, and I ended up selling it after a year. Great sequencer, though. I was on a waiting list for 3 years to get it, and when I finally got it, it was good for a year, and then off it went. I know that might be sacrilege, but, art is transient. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you saw the video. Yeah. Let's see. Davi, hey. If I missed anyone else, Lemon Delight, hello. I apologize. I'm just zipping through the chat here. Jonathan Carter, welcome. Are delay and reverb coming from Ableton? Yes. So in this system, all of the effects and mixing is done in the box. So all of the top row of the modular is oscillators and filters and a little modulation sources, LFOs and stuff. The bottom is all sequencers and modulation sources. And everything goes directly into the interface individual voices on each channel. I have 24 channels here. They all go into Ableton, and Ableton handles mixing and effects because I like to run stereo. I have a couple stereo oscillators in here, and running effects, especially stereo effects and stereo mixing for this many channels gets stupidly expensive in modular, and I didn't want to spend that much, and I had all this other gear already, and I already had Ableton and a buttload of effects, so let's just do that. The trick was getting it to sync, and I use this tiny little module here called the ML2, the Missing Link 2, that will synchronize an analog clock to the Ableton Link network. Works like magic. It's great stuff. So all the effects are in the box. Yeah, and then it's easier to control them from the push and things like that too. Bye, Nigel. See ya. Let's see. Yeah, I have, yeah, so that's how that works. Let's see. Okay, so it's intermittent. Some people are seeing weird out of sync audio video, but some are not. All right, I'm gonna toss it into the air and say YouTube gods are offended or something. Let's see, what else? Tangerine Dream had guitars. Yeah, they did. I couldn't tell you, were there guitars on Phaedra? I'm not a Tangerine Dream expert by any means. I have a few albums I really like. My first exposure to Tangerine Dream was the movie Risky Business, and my second one was the movie Legend, right? So my origins of Tangerine Dream knowledge are late era Tangerine Dream, not the early stuff. Let's see. All right, cool. I think I finally caught up with you guys in the chat. But we're nearing the end. So I'll throw out there, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to fiddle around with these patterns, and I feel like playing the bass a little bit. So let's play some bass. I'm going to replace this bass line with another one. Actually, let's start fresh. And let's bring it all back. Now let's take the rhythm out for a minute. Take the modular patterns down, and we'll bring one in. So this is the right-hand Metropolix. And each one has 2 channels for voices. This is the right channel on the right Metropolix. All right. Effects are in Ableton in the box. So if we look at we're using, I use a lot of different reverbs. I like Ableton's reverb, but this particular one is Valhalla Supermassive. Turn it up too much. And the echo is Ableton's tape delay emulation, the echo device. And let's bring the pattern length down so we're truly in that sort of Berlin school space of small, tiny patterns. All right. And let's put a bass under this. Now, hearing this pattern, our brain says the downbeat's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But I like to screw with people, or myself included. So let's put the downbeat somewhere else. Let's try that again. The problem is if I want to do that, I have to actually count in my head. There we go. Now let's play with the pattern. Let's just make it a little longer. Oh, there's a little ratchet in there. Let's put some notes in there. All right. There we go. All right, now let's place the bass line with something more interesting. Since the bass is up high, let's play the matriarch on the low side. Some patterns. All right. Let's bring that rhythm back in. Let's change the bass. Oh. The pattern was longer than I expected. There we go. You can make corrections. The push is a wonderful device. now that we've got it running, let's play with the transpositions. This is so not cool, but it's so much fun. Once again, just to demonstrate, let's go back to a different arrangement. We'll just hold the transposition stuff and play with arrangements. So for those of you who are late, these were patterns that we set up earlier when we were playing. I recorded them, and they're saved, and we can jump back and forth between them. Here's another one. The Nano Key is connected by Bluetooth. One more transposition, a couple pattern changes, and then I'll call it a night. Start closing it out. I'll answer the last few questions that are in here. We're out. All right. So let's see. What am I missing here? Thank you all for spending time with me. I do appreciate it. I'm going to do this again tomorrow at the same time. The weekends, I like the weekends in this slot, I think. January is a challenge to be for sure, to be clear. But let's see. All right. Talk amongst yourselves. Cool. Discussion of the Tangerine Dream. Good. Tales from Topographic Oceans reference. Excellent. Let's see. All right. 70s albums, vinyls. That's fine. The Thief soundtrack was good. Yep. Good ratcheting there. If you want really good examples of like ratcheting, old school ratcheting, there's a guy on YouTube named Gary Hayes. You search for Gary P. Hayes. Synchrotron also. But Gary does these Berlin School pieces where he's using older style equipment in a lot of cases, and he's really like doing these manual ratchets where he's dialing them in for a moment and then taking them back out. It's really amazing to watch him work. And he does a couple explanation videos too, where he'll do a piece and then explain how it's wired up in his modular. It's good stuff. Anyway, Gary Hayes. You probably all know him already. He's awesome. Let's see. I think we're good. I just got Geddy Lee's autobiography for Christmas. I haven't started reading it yet, though. He's got a television show as well, apparently, like about interviewing other bass players. So we'll see. Yeah, the Nano Key is Bluetooth. It works great. It runs on batteries too. I don't mind things that are battery powered that you have to charge. But sometimes I just like to be able to have my own rechargeables that I put in, as opposed to having like the mono block in it. So, cool. Amphonics, thanks very much. That's very kind of you. Richard, cool. If you guys are wrapping it up, I am wrapping it up. Feel free to run. I know I've gone long. I don't try not to go more than an hour. With January, it's so hard to keep up with everyone's stuff. So, will there be a February? So January charges up my batteries for the rest of the year. So I don't know what'll happen. I was doing this music making diary, which I'll get back to, a bunch of stuff. And I like instructional things too. So the instructional videos will come back. It's really funny. January, when you do this, I'm not driven by subscriber counts, but subscriber counts go way down during January because all the people who are like, why aren't you doing tutorials? They're like, I'm out. And it's like, whatever. But then all these other people come in and they're like, we like your jams, and they follow you. And then you stop doing jams and they're like, why aren't you jamming anymore? I'm out. You know, so it's like, whatever. It'll work out fine. It's not like I don't have a day job, right? What else here? Pete Brown. Hey, welcome. You never caught one of these live. I'm glad the time slot worked for you. Only the end of it. Well, tomorrow I'm doing another one starting at the same time as this one. So if that helps, great. If not, just watch the recording. And I do highlight reels, so you don't have to watch the whole hour. You can watch the 5-minute video of what I thought were some of the fun parts. And so, and really that's about it. Okay. All right. Well, thanks very much. I really appreciate the time you spend with me. Have a great rest of the weekend. If you're far enough along that your weekend's mostly gone. So if we got people in Australia watching, I hope the rest of whatever's left of your weekend's good. For me, I still have a nice chunk of it to do all of the things my wife wants me to do. So I got to get to that. And really, that's about it. With that, I'm going to sign off. And thanks very much. See you later.